This is 1997 now, so I'm like, whatever, turning 24-ish. And it was really cool. We were Bill Gurley's first venture investment, who's now pretty famous. Bill wasn't famous then. Bill had left being an analyst, and he wasn't yet at Benchmark. He was at Hummer Winblad. Hummer Winblad is not well known anymore, but it was like the first venture firm that invested solely in software companies. Way back in the day when people thought software companies were uninvestable because they had no assets. So Hummer Winblad was fascinating. And Ann Winblad was this woman in tech she's still around, she's fascinating. And we were at dinner at a place called Il Vagabondo that closed, I think in 2016. It was an Italian restaurant, had an internal, bocce course. I thought it was so cool. New York City. And Ann had seen a lot of things. I said, so Ann, you've seen all these entrepreneurs. You've been around forever. You've seen all these entrepreneurs. What's it take to be successful? And she told this story about, well, you see people do it different ways. You have folks that if you question anything about their vision, they'll punch you in the nose, never talk to you again, like Larry Ellison. And you have people that are really good about surrounding themselves with people that disagree with them and foster an environment like that, like Michael Dell. Said, but across that spectrum, they all have one thing in common. So I'm like sitting there, at the edge of my seat, like my meatball. Like, what you gonna say? He says, what they all have in common is that they can believe fully in a vision. Like they just know that the world's gonna play out this way. And then they take a couple steps, and then they realize like 80% of how they thought it was gonna play out was wrong. But they take the 20% that remains and they recast their vision. And then they do that over and over. And I remember her saying, so successful entrepreneurs may have to do that 12 to 15 times across their venture. And I remember thinking I was hearing something really wise. And then as time went on, I was like, man, she was like, that was the wisest thing I'd ever heard, and dubbed that Ann Winblad's concept of intellectual stamina. But it relates again to this thing that this stuff is so hard and these ventures take like 10 years. My first two ventures I was in for 10, 12 years each. If you're gonna spend 10 or 12 years of your life on something, you better make sure you love it.